Thank you for joining the City of Kingston's Common Council at our monthly meeting. Today is Tuesday, July 7th. My name is Andrea Schott, the Council President and organizer for our virtual meetings. Before we begin, we would like to go over a few guidelines to help us navigate the system as efficiently and respectfully as possible. We ask that members of the public and press remain muted and off camera for the length of the meeting. As organizer, I reserve the right to mute anyone who unmutes themselves. Council members and city staff will control their own mute button. Good practice would be to mute yourself if you are not speaking to avoid background noise and feedback. If a council member or staff wishes to speak, they will raise their hands. The chairperson will call on them before they speak by stating their name clearly for our audio listeners. All of our meetings are recorded. Both video and written transcriptions will be made available to the public on the city's website. We have not had public speaking during our virtual meetings. However, written comments were submitted to the city clerk and distributed to the council this afternoon following our virtual procedure. We encourage you to reach out to your ward's representative or the council president at any time with concerns or questions. And you could submit written comments leading up to the next month's council meeting. If you have any audio issues, send a text message to the following number, 845-594-6120. Please be aware that phone calls will not be answered during the meeting. The number to text again is 845-594-6120. As the organizer for today's meeting, I reserve the right to lock and pause the meeting to eject anyone who behaved inappropriately. The presiding officer tonight is the council president, which is myself, Andrea Schott. City staff, we have Corp Counsel Kevin Bryant, City Clerk Elisa Tinty, and we'll have roll call in a few minutes to hear the council members. But thank you for your patience during these difficult times, and on behalf of the Common Council, I wish you and your family good health. And I now call the meeting to order at 7:34 on July 7th, 2020. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. May I please have roll call?
Alderman Ventura Morel.
Here.
Alderman Coop. Alderman Coop. You there?
Here.
Alderman Scott Childress.
Here.
Alderman Worthington.
Here.
Alderman Tollerman.
Here.
Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman O'Reilly.
Here.
Alderman Shabbat.
Here.
And Alderman Hirsch.
Here.
We have a quorum. Can I have a motion to dispense with the minutes of the previous meeting and approve same? Motion by Tony Davis, second by Steve Shabbat. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion is adopted 9-0. Can I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the general bills? Motion by Rennie Scott Childress, second by Steve Shabbat. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion is adopted 9-0. Although we have not had public speaking during our virtual meetings the last 3 months, written comments are submitted each month and delivered by the city clerk. I am going to read the list of who has submitted comments and what they were in favor or not in favor of. They can also be found on the website by going to our agenda. There's a bunch, so bear with me while I hopefully pronounce names correctly. Speaking For voting no on the 500-foot food truck law, David Hirsch. Speaking in favor of public access station, Clark Richters. The rest are all speaking in favor of resolution, the resolution on the policing commission that we will be voting on later tonight. Are the rest of the comments. We have Patrick Pelicano, Mary Solrich, Jessica Kuhnen, Beth Capes, Noah Meyer, Sarah Amendolar, Roxy Newberry, Sophia Arlo, Louise Bartolotto, Michael Shea, Alicia McNamara, Hannah Gills, Kate Sazada, Hannah Contrat, Carrie Toy, Erin Barth Dwyer, Judson Packard, Alexandra Stewart, Reed Mullins, Merev Kenball, Adam Katzman, Diana Starodaj, Amy Armijo, Samantha Strand, Katie Minford, Kim Cresbin, Ella Contrite, Sonia Weaver Madsen, Gretchen Brown, Kate Roscoe, Lalina Meyerson, Erica Rose, Murphy Monday, Sarah Grote, Caitlin Sinsley, Linda Yasky, Nina De Palma, Rian Goodman, Matt Wetzler, Crystal Haas, Bethany Pickard, Elena Schaaf, Sam Cohen, Caitlin Salimi, excuse me, Jesse Brown, Lisa Royer, Morgan Miller, Callie Jane, Margarita Reese, Amanda Capanillas, Marley Herring, Emily Orr, Jenna Misra, Nick Pankin, Ali Fairkeel, Anna, Rich Shafo, Catherine Brignock, and Tate Simpson. I believe there were 64 constituents in favor of the Police Commission Guidelines resolution. We now enter into claims and communications. Hearing no discussion, they will be on file in the clerk's office. Can I get a motion to dispense with the second reading of the general bills and pay same? Motion by Patrick O'Reilly, second by Steve Shabbat. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is adopted 9-0. We now enter into the report of committees, starting with resolution number 106, please.
Resolution 106 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, supporting the development workforce mixed-use housing on underutilized lands on Golden Hill.
On the question? Hearing no debate, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution 106.
Resolution 107 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a budgetary amendment in the Shade Tree account in the amount of $600.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. Just make sure you put your thumbs up for a yes and down for a no, please. So all in favor? Opposed? Resolution adopted 9-0. Moving to Resolution 108, please.
Resolution 108 of 2020, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a budgetary transfer in the Parks and Recreation Department to complete playground upgrades to Barman Park in the amount of $70,000.
On the question. Alderman Coop?
Yes, Madam Chairman, this is transfer of $70,000 from CDBG funds. No financial impact to the city.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 109, please.
Resolution 109 of 2020, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing approval of the consent order and judgment correcting and reducing the 2019 and 2020 assessment roll for SBL 56.33-1-14.111, McNaughton 7, DePola LLC, 397 Wilbur Avenue.
On the question, Alderman Coop?
Yes, this is Doug Coop here. This is a recommended settlement from the city assessor to reduce the assessment on the nursing home on Wilbur Avenue from $3,399,000 to $2,450,000. Secondarily, there's a transfer of $20,000 into the consultant line so the assessor can negotiate or otherwise challenge or be challenged by other types of reductions in settlement. It's to protect the city. If we don't protect ourselves, then we could be sitting targets for anyone who wants to reduce the settlement. So I recommend passage of this resolution.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 110, please.
Resolution 110 of 2020, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the allocation of Emergency Community Development Block Grant, CDBG CV funding in the amount of $440,426 and the amendment of the city's 2019 CDBG Annual Action Plan to include these allocations to the indicated organization's eligible activities.
On the question, Alderwoman Hirsch?
Yes, this is Alderwoman Hirsch. I'll be recusing myself due to my employment. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Shabbat? Alderman Shabbat, did you have your hand up? You have to unmute yourself, Steve.
Okay, sorry, I had a lost connection for a second. Yeah, thank you. I'd again like to take the opportunity to thank everybody on the Community Development Committee, Common Council members. I heard from numerous members of the council. Our committee came together to make these decisions. I'm really proud that everybody did their homework coming into the meeting. We had at least 37 applications that I can think of for funding. So needless to say, it was a long night, probably close to 3 hours by the time we got done with it all. But again, we had good discussions. Everybody came forward, not exactly with their mind made up. Everybody was open to discussion, and I really appreciate that. But in the end, we had to make some very hard decisions. And again, I really appreciate everybody putting themselves out on the line like that. It's a tough job, but I was really proud to be part of this committee and part of the decisions. That being said, this was, in case you're unfamiliar with the purpose of the block grant, it's to be used for responses to the COVID epidemic. So we looked at that, and that was our main goal, is to give back to people who have been directly responding to the epidemic in terms of food and shelter, and I can't even mention everything that's going on in this community. I'm proud of the community for doing this. So it was kind of nice. A lot of these folks had no idea that there were going to be funds available to be paid back. They spent a lot of their own money. I'm sure a lot of these organizations put themselves in jeopardy, both financially and physically, with the work they did during this time. I can't say enough about it. So anyway, I think we're all on the same page. That was our direction. There were, again, a lot of other applications for startup businesses, which certainly all had their merit. I mean, we appreciate that, but we urge everybody that didn't receive something here to go through the regular community block grant process, because I think a lot of these programs will be eligible. So anyway, that out of the way, I, for one, am quite comfortable with the decisions we made. I think we made sound decisions here. Again, they're judgment calls, to be sure, but I feel very comfortable, with the work that was done. And what makes me feel really comfortable is everybody came to the table prepared for this. There was no hedging at the last minute or, looking at crib sheets or anything like that. Everybody knew their business. And once again, I thank you. I can't thank you enough for that. So anyway, my comfortableness is my own comfortableness. I hope everybody else has had ample opportunity to look at the list and come to their own conclusion. But certainly, I would urge you to pass this. I think it's a good list.
Thank you. Anyone else? Alderman Ventura Morel.
Thank you, Madam President. This is Jeffrey Ventura Morel. I would like to echo what Alderman Chabot just said, and thank especially all the organizations that do amazing work. We funded some of them we couldn't fund, but we all agree that everybody is doing great work during these times. This was, I said it before, this is one of the most rewarding committees I get to serve on, just to see the scope of the work and how many people are dedicating their time and resources to helping their neighbors. So I'll be in favor of this, and I thank everybody else on the committee and on the council who was part of this discussion.
Thank you. Anybody else on the question? Alderwoman Worthington.
Rita Worthington here. I won't repeat what Alderman Ventura said, but I do want to thank Alderman Chabot for his guidance and for his leadership on this. He was very informative, and he made sure that he included all of us in the decisions that were made. So, as well as Alderman Coop, who did an excellent job with the percentages. So thank you both.
Anyone else on the question? Hearing no one else, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 8-1, the one vote being the recusal by Alderwoman Hirsch. Moving to resolution number 111, please.
Resolution 111 of 2020, An ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the city of Kingston, New York, removing handicap parking on Brewster Street.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Resolution 112, please.
Resolution 112 of 2020. An ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the city of Kingston, New York, removing handicap parking on Ravine Street.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 113, please.
Resolution 113 of 2020. An ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the city of Kingston, New York, adding handicap parking on Ravine Street.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 114, please.
Resolution 114 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a budget transfer in the amount of $30,000 to cover the expense of repairs to the roof and HVAC system at the Roundout Neighborhood Center.
On the question? Alderman Coop? Doug, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, Doug Coop here, Madam President. This is a transfer of $30,000 from the Community Development Block Grant, also known as CDBG. $30,000 for the repair of roof and HVAC system at the Rondout Neighborhood Center. So it's a transfer of funds, federal funds granted to the city and approved by the Community Development Committee. No financial impact to the city.
Anyone else on the question? Hearing no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution 115, please.
Resolution 115 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing an early retirement incentive program for eligible members who are covered by the CSEA collective bargaining agreement.
On the question, Alderman Coop.
This is a recommendation from the mayor and from the city controller in view of the serious financial impact we have from the COVID-19 virus. To reduce costs, we're offering a retirement early retirement package for certain employees 55 years of age and I believe it's 25 years of service. To effect a cost reduction, we're offering, if they do retire between now and August, they will receive enhanced dental, and I believe it's optical and insurance for life. So we don't know how many people will take this. We don't yet know the financial impact until it's offered. We can't offer it until we approve it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 116, please.
Resolution 116 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the adopting of guidelines and practices for police accountability process and community representation on the Police Commission of Kingston, New York.
On the question, Alderman Davis.
Alderman Davis here. I just want to acknowledge all the citizens out there that sent me letters or left me a voicemail or sent me an email. I did read them all, And I thank you for taking the time to lend your voice to making our city safer for everyone. So I just want to acknowledge that I did receive in the big emails and I read them all. Thank you. And I will be in favor of this resolution.
Alderman Ventura Morel.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules so that we can make a small correction on the resolution.
So there's a motion to suspend the rules. Is there a second? Second by Steve Shabbat. So all in favor to suspend the rules? Opposed? Rules have been suspended. Michelle, was that a yes? 9-0. Rules have been suspended. Jeffrey?
Yes, I believe Alderwoman Worthington has the motion, has the correction.
Alderwoman Worthington, please.
Okay. All right, Rita Worthington here. Thank you. Lost my audio for a minute. So we wanted to make a small amendment to the guidelines. I just want to, I'm looking for the subsection of the guidelines. It is section C, paragraph G.
Yep.
Subparagraph. Yeah. Thank you, Rennie. Okay, so we wanted to make that section consistent with the city code of ethics. There was a question that was asked of the subcommittee about the conflict of interest language, and wanted it to be a little bit more specific and a little bit more clearer. And so we'd like to amend that to add that language in that section.
All right, so that's a motion to amend the language to add the ethics.
To make it, yes, to add, yes.
I just wanted to make sure it's clear. Second by Rennie Scott Childress. All in favor to amend the language?
Question.
I'm sorry. Is there any discussion on the question? Alderman Davis.
Alderman Davis here. And could you, and Alderwoman and Worthington, could you read that so the public is aware of what the amendment or the change is?
Do you want me to read the entire section of it?
I believe you could just probably read the part that's going to be changed or added to, just so the public's aware of what's going to be added.
Well, the language that will be added is what's in our code of ethics, where it talks about the conflict of interest, where all commission members and commission employees shall comply in all respects with the provisions of Chapter 49 of the Ethics Code of the City of Kingston.
All right, so that will be added into that's what is asked in this amendment. Any other questions or discussion on the amendment before I call for the vote? All right, so I'll call for the vote to have this amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The amendment is adopted 9-0. So now we are back to vote on Resolution 116. Is there any discussion? Alderman Scott Childress.
Thank you, Rennie Scott Childress here. First, it's very gratifying to us, as Tony Davis mentioned. Lots of people are very closely following this particular issue. We understand that. We are on the Common Council also gratified. We've been working on this for 2 years and related issues regarding the police. So it feels like a long time that we've been working on something here. And I'd like to note, though, that this is in the context of other positive steps that have been taken in relation to policing here in Kingston. So both the Kingston Police Department and the city government have addressed many of the issues that have caused so much harm elsewhere. A lot of folks I don't think know that KPD now undergoes much more training than most police departments, including implicit bias, race, gender, and other domains, particularly over the last 2 or 3 years, they've developed this. And it's been 5 years now since KPD officer has fired a weapon in the line of duty. And it's been over 50 years since KPD has engaged in a deadly fire event. So, knock on wood, hopefully the training that we've got is strongly causing this. And we know, though, that there's plenty of other things that we need to get done. So these are guidelines that will help the police commission when an issue reaches them. But we'd also like to let folks know that we're working really hard to reduce the possibility of any issue actually reaching the police commission. So anybody who's interested, I hope they'll get in touch with us, because the police committee of the Common Council, we've got lots of different ideas that we're looking at working on, such as more mental health services, looking at the Cahoots program in Oregon, plenty of other things that we think would improve the way that we police our community, the way that we try to create a safe community for everyone involved. So this is one example, the police commission guidelines here, one example of the things that we've been working on. And I hope folks will continue to pay attention and work with us to create even more positive policing projects in the future. I will definitely be a yes on this after these 2 years. Thanks.
Alderman Ventura Morel.
Thank you, Madam President. Jeffrey Ventura Morel here. I would also like to echo what Alderman Scott Childress say about how proud I am to finally present this legislation before the full council. It has been a long process, and a lot of work has gone into it. We have worked with the community and listened to them, and I hope you will all support this as I will be. Thank you.
Anyone else? Alderwoman Hirsch, and then Alderwoman Worthington.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. This is Alderwoman Hirsch. Tonight's a momentous night for our community members that have worked tirelessly for years to get the city of Kingston to this night where police accountability legislation is finally coming before the full council to be passed. My only regret is that we're not in City Hall together with our community members, so that they can comment to the council live in person and witness this legislation passing. Thank you.
Alderwoman Worthington.
Rita Worthington here. Just want to echo the sentiments of everyone that has spoken thus far. I do want to give much credit to our community and to the public who stayed on us and held us accountable for getting these guidelines passed. I want to thank the full council. I think everyone on the council is in favor of this, at least I would hope so, and hope that everybody would be passing this. We understand that, this is not the entire step, but it is a step in the right direction. And as Alderman Scott Childress said, that we're going to continue to work. We're going to continue to make our government as transparent as possible. And we're also going to continue to foster the relationship between police and community, because it's very important. The city of Kingston is fortunate that we even have a police commission. And we're happy to say that we'll be involved in the appointees going forward. Happy to say that we already have one of our community members appointed to the commission, Minya DeJeanette. We're happy about that. And so we're just glad that we're working together to move forward. And I would say that the public and the community support, I appreciate it. And I would say that please continue to hold your electeds accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on the question? Hearing no one else, I'll call for the vote. Remember, this is the amended version. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, resolution adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 117.
Resolution 117 of 2020. resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, issuing a negative declaration in connection with the Kingston Open Space Plan.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Resolution number 118, please.
Resolution 118 of 2020, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the repeal of a portion of the unused bond ordinance for the completed Abeele Street reconstruction and Greenkill Avenue Bridge project.
On the question? Alderman Coop?
Alderman Coop here. We bonded fairly heavily for two projects that bottom line, we just didn't need to use the bond. So there's no reason to hold the bonds open. So rather than pay interest, we'll just close out the bonds and pay these the bills out of operating funds. So it's we saved several $100s in bond interest associated with several $100s in bonds. So I recommend passage.
Anyone have a question? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 119, please.
Resolution 119 of 2020, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the mayor to expend up to $314,500 from the Recreation Trust Fund for Parks and Recreation capital projects.
On the question, Alderman Ventura Morel and then Alderman Davis.
Thank you, Madam President. I will be, unless this gets sent back to committee, I will be a no vote on this today. We asked some questions at last night's caucus. We received answers, but those answers were, to me, incomplete. This is very tough times we are living in right now. So to deplete the rec trust fund at the tune of 70%, I think it's not responsible at this moment. I would be in favor of choosing 3 or 4 of these projects that could be completed from beginning to end at a cost no more than 50% of the rec trust fund, and we can save the rest to see if we can afford to finish the rest of the projects next year once we come out of this economic situation. Thank you.
Alderman Davis.
Alderman Davis here. Yes, we did have, it was a nice debate or nice discussion yesterday, and we did receive some answers today from Alderman Coop. Thank you, Doug, for getting that information in regard to the prioritizing of these projects. And looking at those projects, and I would be in favor of amending this resolution in some way, and where we might, as we state, might be able to do the first 5 or the first 6 projects. My only concern is that if we hold off on doing these from the information we've gathered, and that this equipment, these structures are only going to deteriorate even more. Thus, it's going to cost the city and more money in the future. And when we do have to eventually, replace the equipment, replace the roofs. And so I'd rather see us moving ahead with these projects, and all except for the last project, where I think we can hold off on project number 7, the skateboard, and which would save us approximately, I believe, $50,000, which has been budgeted for. And if I'm right, I don't know can somebody tell me the total figure that we have in this fund? Was it 415,000, Doug?
It's 420, 450. I can't remember exactly.
So if we do the projects 1 through 6, and they calculate it out to be 264,000. So it's a reduction from what was originally asked. And if it's about 415,000 in the fund, that would calculate out to about 63, 64% of the total, the money that we have in that account at this time. And I just, again, don't want to see us put this off and then we're not able to do these projects in the summertime. And then the structures and the equipment are more deteriorated, which then I feel is going to make it even more costly when we have to come back to, repair these. Thank you.
Alderman O'Reilly.
Yeah, hi, Alderman O'Reilly here. This project will provide needed jobs for people in this time of unemployment. So I'm in favor of the project going through. This money is in a fund that has been collected already. And it's been allocated for these projects. I'm hoping that our project manager on this, Julie Noble, has, and I'm sure she has done her homework on this. And I think we should probably go through with this, and I'm going to vote in favor.
Alderman Tollerman.
Hi, Don Tollerman here. I agree with Alderman Davis's proposed amendment. I think that makes sense to do up to number 6. I think that when people are having trouble financially and there's a lot more time at home, we need our parks to be at their best. And this money does not have. This money is sitting in a fund that does not have a financial impact on our operating budget. So I believe we should go forward with this project. But again, I think we should amend it to just remove the last skate park item to make sure we have enough money to cover the other ones. Thank you.
Alderman Shabbat, and then Alderman Coop.
All right, thank you. Actually, I want to make a clarification. I thought when Alderman Ventura Morel started his conversation, he mentioned sending it back to committee. Did I hear that wrong?
There was a mention, but there
Were
was
you
no,
making that suggestion and go back to committee?
yeah, there was no motion for that.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard him say that. Okay. I would just like to add, this is a lot on somebody's plate to be taking on this much. I said we got a letter from Ed Norman today, and it looks like Ed will be part of the overseeing of the projects as well. Again, I hate to put these off because we're, as I said last night, we're already halfway through the summer. By the time we get going on these things, summer is going to be at an end already. I hate to see us not start projects like this. They're all good projects. I don't think there's anything, that we don't need there. And again, we've put a cap on the spending. So, I would hate to see somebody come forward and say, we're over budget. I certainly hope that will not happen. But I would like to see these projects move along. And hopefully, between council and DPW and rec, we can kind of keep an eye on things and make sure they're moving along as they should be. I'm just afraid if we do put them off, we come back at a later date, the prices are going to go, a lot higher than they are now. We're going to end up spending a lot more money for the same projects. That's probably my biggest fear.
Alderman Coop.
To Alderman, this is Doug Coop, to Alderman Davis, for the record, Tony, the Recreation Trust Fund is $451,000. So just for the record. This resolution passed the Finance Committee unanimously. At caucus last night, several good issues were raised about prioritization of the projects and how the costs would be controlled. As a result of that, I was asked to get some more data on this. I contacted the mayor and Ed Norman and Julie Noble, who were the ones that would be most associated with the project. You all have a copy of the letter that they sent to us around 5 o'clock this afternoon, prioritizing, and I don't need to go over the listing. But there is a prioritized list. There are quotes that contain a small what's the word?
Contingency. Contingency.
Cost protection. Yeah, contingency. Thank you. A small contingency. I think the record of Ed Norman and Julie Noble speaks for itself in controlling costs. Steve Shabbat has a very good point. You know, these facilities are not being used right now. It's an excellent time to go in and do it. We have what was asked last night, a prioritized list. Of course, on cost control, you never have 100%. You never do. But I think we have good people that are running this. They've costed it out and put it in contingency. You know, if the bell goes off and we need to examine it, you know, they will alert us that we could do this. I think it's an excellent time to go forward. These projects are really needed in our outstanding parks, and I strongly support going forward with this tonight. Thank you.
Alderman Davis.
Alderman Davis here again. So I would like to recommend and that we modify this resolution and that we cap the cost at $264,500 and that we are allocating these funds to cover the cost of projects 1 through 6. And so that means the project number 7, the skateboard, will be moved. So that's what I'm proposing there, which is 59% which would be 59% of the fund balance that we have. That's my motion.
Is that a motion then? Okay. So the motion was made by Tony Davis to amend to $264,500 for projects 1 through 6. Second by Jeffrey Ventura Morel.
A point of order, Madam Chairman. Was there not an amendment to send this back to committee? I mean, what are we voting
There
on?
was no amendment to send this back to committee. No.
Jeffrey never mentioned that amendment. Jeffrey said that he would be a no.
Okay, just clarifying. That's off the table. Okay.
Never on the table. Yep. Okay, so currently right now, there's a motion and a second to amend the price cap for projects number 1 through 6. On that question, please, Alderman Scott Childress.
Yes, I think that's a fine idea. I'm not quite so concerned about this since this money is dedicated specifically to these kinds of projects. It's money that is supposed to be used for the maintenance, upkeep, and improvement of the parks. It's not part of the city budget, as somebody else already pointed out. And, you know, I understand being somewhat conservative here. At the same time, I think this is an excellent time to be doing remediation in our parks and a lot of these facilities. These are 1 through 6 really cover things that need to be fixed. So I think this is a great time to do this, and I'm perfectly happy with the reductions that Alderman Davis has suggested.
Alderman Shabbat.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just to follow up with Rennie. We started this trust fund, I can't remember how long ago we put this together when I was on the rec commission. And it is for the express purpose of capital project with the recreation department. It can't be used for anything else. We've looked at the projects. The projects are good. I don't think there was anybody that disagreed that these are good projects. They're all capital projects. And that's the point of the money. Yes, we don't want to drain it, but you know, we want to use it. You know, so to use it, you know, for these purposes, I agree. I think it's a good idea. You know, I certainly would like to see these move forward too.
Alderman Ventura Morel.
Thank you, Madam President. Jeffrey Ventura Morel here. Yes, I agree with what Alderman Shabbat said, and my point was only that I agree that 1 through 6 are necessary improvements, but I also think we won't know if we will be able to replenish this fund. So parks will always need maintenance and things like that in the future. So it's a good idea to have a little bit of a cushion there for future projects that may come up. Thank you.
More discussion on the Alderwoman Hirsch.
I just think that this is Alderwoman Hirsch, that the quality of life in Kingston depends on our making repairs to our parks and our facilities. 2 of these projects are pavilions where our community groups and families celebrate while the city actually makes money by renting out the pavilions. So if they're not being used right now is a good time to make these repairs. So I'm, in favor of everything, but doing the amendment that Tony Davis recommended.
Anybody else on the amendment before I call for the vote on the amendment? Elisa, can you please read the amended resolution, please?
Resolution 119 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the mayor to expend up to $264,500 from the Recreation Trust Fund for Parks and Recreation Capital Projects 1 through 6.
So this vote is for amending that. We already have a motion and a second, so all in favor? Opposed? Amendment is adopted 6-2, or 7-2, sorry. The 2 no votes were Alderman Coop and Alderman O'Reilly. So the resolution has been amended, and so now we're going to vote on the amended resolution. Does anybody need me to read, or Elisa to read it again? Is there any other discussion on the question? All right, I'll call for a motion. We haven't had a motion on this resolution. Motion made by Patrick O'Reilly. Is there a second? Second by Rennie Scott Childress. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 120, please.
Resolution 120 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, amending Section 373-5, Tree Commission, creation, term of office of the Code of the City of Kingston.
On the question? Alderman Ventura Morel.
Thank you, Madam President. This is to amend the membership of the Tree Commission to include 2 current members that are not voting members, the member of the Memorial Tree Fund and city tree expert. They are currently advisory members, and this resolution would make them voting members. Thank you. So I am in favor of it. Thank you.
Anyone else on the question? Hearing no one else, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution 121, please.
Resolution 121 of 2020. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, amending Section 370-16, towing roster, requirements, and fees of the Code of the City of Kingston.
On the question. Alderwoman Hirsch and then Alderman O'Reilly.
Yes, this is Alderwoman Hirsch. I'm just going to say that I'm going to vote no tonight because I'm not really sure why we're voting on this now, why this fee schedule, why the towing fees need to be included in the fee schedule. It never has been. I know this was something up to be passed last year. It didn't pass. I'm not quite sure why. At this time, we have double-digit unemployment rates. I just feel like hoisting unnecessary costs on the public at this time. Many people in our community don't have driveways. I don't understand why we're going to be raising towing fees for the convenience of one towing company. Thank you.
Alderman O'Reilly?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about towing and the competition between the tow companies and how they get chosen. I think we probably need a little more information on this, and I don't think it's going to hurt anybody if we get information on this. Thank you.
Alderman Ventura Morel?
Thank you, Madam President. Just to be clear, this doesn't raise any towing fees. This doesn't set any towing fees. This is just adding a line on the fee schedule for the towing fees to be included there, as they were always meant to be. The fee schedule is meant to include any fees that are collected in the city. So this will just add a line for a towing fee to be set by the Finance Committee. So this is not raising the towing fees or adding towing fees. The towing fees already exist. This is just including them on the fee schedule. Thank you.
Alderman Scott Childress?
Yes, thank you. Alderman Scott Childress here. Adding to what Alderman Ventura Morel said, this is actually meant to make things easier so that everybody actually knows what the fees are. And I think that's very important. This is something that's meant to make it clear to anybody who's involved so that we don't end up in situations where there are miscommunications and those folks who are following the rules will be, benefited and not be undercut by people who are breaking the rules.
Alderman Davis?
Alderman Davis here. And where's the fees currently listed at right now? If they're not on the fees and fee schedule, where are they listed?
They're in the code, but not with all the other fees. It just got lost when the fee code was adopted, I think a year or two ago when we did it, the council did it. It's just, it's still someplace.
Still currently a fee. If somebody gets told there's an established fee, it's just not listed in the fee schedule where all the other costs are. All right, thank you.
Yes. Anybody else on the question? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 7-2. The two no votes were Alderman O'Reilly and Alderwoman Hirsch. Moving to Resolution 122.
Resolution 122 of 2020, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, recommending approval for modifications to the assessor's budget.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. That ends our communications. And before we adjourn our meeting, does anybody have anything else? Alderman Shabbat.
Thank you. I'd like to close in memory of a couple people that recently passed. Tom T.K. Kozłowski, lifelong city resident, worked for probably 30 years at Dino Nobel over in Port Ewan. Big sports fan. Battled cancer for several years and unfortunately contracted COVID recently, which kind of put an end to his battle. He leaves behind two daughters, a son and a grandchild. And Ed Hoffman, another lifelong Kingston resident, served in the Army Reserves, Long term, I think he worked 30 years for IBM. I knew him as a kid, hadn't seen him in a long time. Turns out he's a caretaker of the church next door to me, so we kind of touch base again. He overcame Hodgkin's disease earlier in his life, so he was through a lot. So that's the end of my list.
Is there anyone else? All right. Hearing no one else, I will call for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Jeffrey Ventura Morel. Is there a second? Second by Rennie Scott Childress. All in favor to adjourn? Opposed? We hereby stand adjourned until the next regularly scheduled meeting on August 4th, 2020. Thank you, everybody.
Good evening, everyone.
Thanks for everything.